In 2019, Output released their second ever effects plugin called Output Portal. Little did they know that this would turn into one of the best and most sought after effects plugins on the market, transforming the entire genre of trap. Now 6 years later, in 2025, I think Portal finally found a true competitor in the space of granular effects units. The VST I'm talking about is more versatile, it has better stock presets, and it's even priced more reasonable. It's called Motion Fractal, produced by Exite Audio, the in-house plugin development company from Plugin Boutique. Let's check it out. Now before I show you more of the actual plugin, just a quick note on the side. I did get access to the plugin for free through the Plugin Boutique affiliate marketing program. I was never in direct contact with either Exite Audio or Plugin Boutique, so they have nothing to say in this video, they don't see it before it releases, nothing. And this video is still an 100% honest review with my 100% honest opinion, like all my videos. I'm just letting you know for transparency that I didn't actually pay for this plugin. But now, let's dive straight into it. When you first open up the plugin, the interface looks pretty simple actually. On the top you have the presets browser, and the presets are, to be honest, one of my favorite things about this plugin. Now in the center you have this weird arrangement of dots that move all over the place, but the main part right here are the 6 sliders, and I'm gonna show you how they work in a second. Now as you can see, once I move the cursor over the plugin, I start to influence the behavior of these dots. And the cool thing is that this movement can also be automated, giving some super cool effects. But what do these white buttons actually do? In order to find out, we have to use this button on the upper right to open up the side tab, giving us a whole bunch of controls. Now in here you have control over the 2 grain algorithms in the upper half and the gate functionality in the lower half. These are the controls that actually change what type of effect you hear. Now if you hover over any of these controls, a white arrow is going to appear, allowing us to click it and drag and drop it onto one of the 6 white sliders/knobs, which is then going to allow us to automate that parameter by changing this knob or slider. Now if you click the button underneath the first one, it's going to open up the second side window, allowing us to control the movement of our 6 white knobs and automating that movement actually. Now this turns the main area into a giant multi-dimensional XY pad, if you want so, allowing us to control multiple parameters at the same time and just giving a lot of movement and randomness into the sound. Sounds pretty complicated at first, but trust me, once you figure it out, it's actually pretty intuitive, and the combinations with this are simply endless. Alright, I think we've talked enough about the plugin, it's time to actually put it to the test and make a beat with it. So we're gonna do 2 beats. With the first one, I'm going to take a melody that I already did, modify it using Motion Fractal, so a quite reasonably workflow, and then I'm just gonna add some drums on it to see how it sounds in the context of a beat. And then for the second one, I'm actually gonna cook up entirely from scratch, so make a melody, use Motion Fractal, put some drums on it, and make a banger beat. Let's go. Alright, so I recently did this melody, and it sounds something like this. So it is sounding pretty cool, I think, but it's just a little bit boring. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna stem out all individual stems, just 4 layers actually. And then we're gonna see if we can actually use Motion Fractal to make this whole thing sound a little bit more interesting. And as the melody is really ambient, that's the thing where, you know, Motion Fractal really shines in making ambient melodies, adding grain to certain things. That's really the power of this plugin, I think. Let's go to the synth presets. That sounds pretty cool. Now of course we haven't transformed the melody entirely, and we could have if we wanted to, but it's just great how fast you can turn a mediocre, interesting sounding melody into something that really is outstanding and super interesting. So let's actually add some drums to this. Alright, so the first beat is done. Turned out pretty fire, a little bit different from what I usually do, but I quite like it. It's that nostalgic summer vibe that's just all around at the moment. So yeah, let me play the final result. Okay, so for the second beat, I'm thinking of making a synth-inspired beat, something in the direction of That's Right, Mike Dean. First up, because I really enjoy making that kind of music, but also because I think Motion Fractal is actually pretty good at making, you know, synth sound interesting. So that's what we're gonna test out with this Cookup. Let's go. Now to start off our day, I'm gonna use an instrument that sounds pretty interesting in itself already, and that is the Creator from Oblique. I'm gonna do a review pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I'm already gonna try it out a little bit with this one, so let's just get a preset. Now as you can hear, the sound is pretty dry so far, and that's exactly what I wanted, because if we add Motion Fractal to it, we're gonna add a bunch of atmosphere around it, so that's gonna fill up that space and, you know, dry sound that we have right now. Let's add another layer from a contact library, maybe something from the Mallet Flux. Really great library if you want to get these mallet sounds. I don't think I want a fractal on this layer. Maybe we can duplicate the layer at halftime and then modify it with Fractal. Something we're definitely missing to get that synth vibe is, you know, just a fat synth fleet. So for this I'm going to Analog Lab. Oh, I think that line that I just recorded sounds sick, dude. For the moment, I think that's definitely enough for the melody. We can still touch it up a little bit later on when we added the drums, but I think for now, it's time to make some hard-hitting drums. Let's go. Alright, I think we're done with the second beat as well. Again, this needs some arrangement too, so it's not 100% finished, so to say, but I think you get the idea. I did touch up the melody a little bit, so I changed up that first element that we had quite a bit, because it sounded super cool. This was just a little bit too much in the mix, so I blurred it out with some reverb and I also added some compression. I also removed that bass entirely from all sections, so probably keep it for like a B part or something, because the drums I added are super heavy, so if you hear them all the time and you have the bass as well, there's just too much low end going on, I think. And besides that, I also simplified the lead a little bit, so I just took out some notes, so it's just a little bit more simple and doesn't take up that much space. Again, when you're making synth melodies, the thing that you always have to keep in mind is to make space for every element, and also have in mind that an artist who wants to rap over this also has a vocal that needs space in the mix. So yeah, here's the final beat. Motion Fractal is available in two versions. The full version gives you access to 250 presets and all the controls I just showed you. And it comes in at $79.99 regular price or $39.99 if discounted. The light version only comes with 75 presets and a limited amount of control. Check out the plugin boutique site itself if you want to see a detailed comparison. Now this one comes in at $49.99 regular price or $29.99 when on discount. Now mentioning the discounted prices, because these plugins go on sale super regularly. So in case you're interested and the plugin is full price currently, just wait for the next sale. It's gonna come pretty soon. In terms of price, Motion Fractal beats both of its closest competitors, EFX Fragments from Arturia and Portal by Output. Okay, so far you've seen me be really positive about Motion Fractal, and that's for a good reason. I do also have some criticism, but let's start with the positives first. First up, the factory presets are pretty great through the bank. I also like the way they're sorted by sound type, so if you have a synth, you know what presets to go through, even though you can of course use any kind of preset with any kind of sound. Now if you like to make your own presets, Motion Fractal gives you a bunch of different sound design options, especially if you go for the full version instead of the light one. And there's just a lot of knobs and actually interesting functions to play around with. Now besides that, the plugin runs pretty stable. I didn't have any glitches or crashes so far. And of course, it's cheap. Way cheaper than its competitors. And even though of course every plugin works a little bit different, Portal and Arturia's Fragments plugin work a little bit different than this does, but overall I would actually say I enjoyed the user interface and sound of Motion Fractal over both of the competitors. Now what are the downsides about this plugin? First of all, it can definitely be a little bit taxing on the CPU. Not a big issue for my system, but if you're working with limited resources, definitely something to keep in mind. Now besides that, the user interface, even though it's looking clean and aesthetic, it can be a little bit confusing at times, especially if you're new to music production or the use of VST plugins. In that case, it's probably a good idea to opt for the light version at first, to test out the simplified interface, and then upgrade to the full version later down the line. And besides that, there's really nothing to criticize, especially not at that price. Now will Motion Refract replace Portal entirely? To be honest, probably not. Portal is just so wildly popular that it's really hard for basically any kind of plugin to beat that. Now, do I think that Motion Refract is a better alternative to both Portal and EFX Fragments by Arturia? Definitely. Especially if you're on a budget, this plugin is just gonna spark some new ideas for you and give you basically the same effect that you would get with Portal or EFX Fragments. And even if you own one of them, I think you're gonna get some new inspiration out of this plugin.